I'm back again with 10 more Midjourney art styles you can add to your prompts, separated by a comma, to get some pretty unique and fun images. So we're going to start off with style 1, which is 1970s Kung Fu movie style. If you can see by this picture, it has that real 1970s photographic look to it. We add Darth Vader, and it pops him into a Kung Fu style pose, adds a bit of Kung Fu style clothing over his uniform, and I really thought this was a pretty funny and different sort of look. Now you add it to Spider-Man, and he sort of gets the Kung Fu style shorts with the tied up sort of like sash around his waist, but we still got Spider-Man from sort of like waist up. Pretty interesting take, and still that dull 70s style photography. And the Incredible Hulk. Now the Hulk doesn't look that much different. It looks like an old photograph, but the hair, they've really gone for the Bruce Lee style hair. So I imagine if Bruce Lee was to become a Hulk, this is possibly what he might end up looking like. And of course we have the Terminator, 1970s Kung Fu movie style. It's kind of changed the hair, so he looks like a completely different person. He's got an old style sort of gun, and got the symbols in the background, and more of a Chinese sort of looking imagery in the background, just to sort of help sort of drag it back into that new style. And Superman is posed up, fists ready, longer hair. Once again, the hair seems to be a big thing, and the background kind of matches as well. More of an art style than an actual movie screenshot. And the modern family home is actually, looks like it's from the 70s. Looks like you could go into a millionaire's house back in 1970s, someone who made their money making Kung Fu movies, and this is the kind of home they would have. And style 2 is analog horror. You can try this without the UE on the end, so depending on what sort of region you're from, there's two different ways to spell analog, but you can see from this image what we kind of get. We've got Pikachu looking very kind of destructive, horrible, like an old sort of abandoned sort of like ceramic toy. And Darth Vader, it's really messed up his face a little bit. I liked the effect with the little gears and bits and pieces that it had on this image. And the futuristic car. I don't get the analog horror side of it, but I do get the lighting and the tone of the image. It really has a dark and sort of horror feel to the way it's presented, but the elements aren't really in that sort of analog horror style. In the modern family home, you've got that creepy sort of like someone's taken a photograph hiding in the garden of the home, dark, creepy vibes in the colors and the lighting. And Mickey Mouse, once again, looking very sort of disturbed and horrible, just like the reality of Disney. And of course, Barbie looks like she is about to sneak into a man's room and murder him while he sleeps. So I thought that was a pretty good result. Now, moving on to before and after. This is just a nifty effect where it kind of adds an image side by side and sort of just alters it a little bit, sometimes not at all. With the woman's face, it's just kind of lightened the image, almost like a Photoshop before and after. Like it's almost like it's the same image, except the lips don't quite line up properly, but you get the idea. Incredible Hulk. It's almost like before and after the battle. He's all sort of like injured up on the right, dull looking, but otherwise they've pretty much copied the pose, I think almost exactly. The futuristic car looks like it's taken the exact same image and flipped it. So I thought that was a pretty interesting take, and this time going with top and bottom instead of left and right. Moving on to Bruce Lee. Now this does not look like Bruce Lee, but I guess this is the left is while he was apparently on steroids, and the right is after getting off steroids. So that is kind of like my take on that image, but obviously apart from maybe the hair, not really much of this looks like Bruce Lee. The Terminator, we got some before and after there where it shows a little bit of the endoskeleton. I thought that was really cool. There's a few other cool ones there, but this one I thought was the best. And the samurai standing in front of Mount Fuji. So we got before the samurai and after the samurai, and the photos look like they're taking completely different time periods. But you can see even like the caps of the mountain are actually pretty much the same. It's done a pretty good job of duplicating that mountain from top to bottom, but adjusting the lighting and maybe even the density of like what's on top. Now, cereal box art was something I tried, and I couldn't get it to get onto a cereal box, but some interesting results. Once again, we got Bruce Lee. Again, not really looking like Bruce Lee apart from like, unless you really want to squint your eyes and put him out of focus, but he's holding a bowl of cereal, and I think you could probably see this on an old-fashioned sort of cereal box. A woman's face is actually just made the woman's face out of pieces of what could be cereal. I thought this was interesting, but not really what we were looking for. And samurai standing in front of Mount Fuji, that has a kind of a cereal box aesthetic to it, where it's kind of like printed illustration. Once again, more old-fashioned than kind of current. And the Incredible Hulk, he is hulking out on cereal, so I imagine if you added a title at the top, you could probably actually box this up and make Hulk cereal. In the Terminator, he's not having cereal, but he's having juice with chunks of cereal in it, actually, so I guess there is some cereal involved. Knife and fork sitting in the cup. Don't know how the AI really sees the Terminator with this, but I like the way it mixed it up. Now, the old family film. I like this because I had the idea of trying to capture something from like old family movies, but it actually took it in a little bit of a different direction. And you look at the woman's face, it actually just looks like someone actually got an old home camera out with film back in, say, the 20s or 30s and recorded a woman's face. Spider-Man, once again, that old faded film look. His hands are joined together as one, so that's a nice little AI glitch there. But otherwise, the overall feel of the image does have that old film feel to it. Pikachu looks like he is getting a photo taken in the 70s or 60s. That faded color, old-fashioned style clothing, and that old-fashioned sort of decor in the background. Pikachu's home does not look very fancy at all in this particular image. And the Terminator, more of an illustration look, not really a film look, but I like the way he kind of has a family now. He's got a small boy and then a sort of bearded brother on the right. Maybe his dad is looking old down at the bottom there. Looks like a family of Terminators ready to kill even the child, so I think that's a little bit different. And Barbie is just sitting back watching an old family film. And once again, that 60s style, it's really strong in this particular image, and I like the impact of it overall. Mickey Mouse, he is about to film his family doing something, so it's got that old-fashioned film style to the color and sort of light balance of the image, but he's holding a camera about to film something, so I thought that was pretty different. Minecraft style. This one I thought was a little bit different, where I thought the AI could probably do a pretty convincing job of replicating a Minecraft style, and many times it does. We move on to Mickey Mouse, and it looks like he's been built in Minecraft. I've never actually played Minecraft, I've only seen images, so I'm probably going to say a few things that are technically wrong here, but you can see how kind of low resolution this Mickey Mouse looks. Moving on to a waterfall in nature, or a beautiful waterfall in nature. This looks like something out of Minecraft as far as my untrained eye is, and an overall pretty cool video game effect. Moving on to the Hulk. He has been built in Minecraft again, ready to smash, and much like Mickey Mouse, just bits and pieces, low resolution looking. But Bruce Lee looks like a proper character, but he looks almost a little photorealistic. And the background, you can tell, has got that real kind of Chinese aesthetic, or even a Japanese aesthetic, possibly. But just the way his character has been made in that Minecraft style is pretty interesting. And a samurai standing in front of Mount Fuji again, very Minecraft. Even the sort of out of focus background is built out of Minecraft style blocks, but then blurred out of focus, which I thought was pretty cool. Moving on to barcode glitch. Now this image doesn't look like much, but when you apply it to something, you get interesting results. And again, this is probably one of the least interesting images, which is Barbie. It's just kind of laid a barcode over the top of her. But you move on to the samurai standing in front of Mount Fuji. In the way it's adapted the colors and added that barcode glitch and little symbols down the, so just to the right of him, there's little symbols going down next to it. Kind of looks almost like a faded 70s photograph mixed with a Matrix style kind of like sort of feed of letters and symbols. The Terminator, this one is one of my favorites because of the impact it's had, where it's got the left and right. He's looking different one side to the other, with the barcode glitch sort of revealing the eye. And I thought that was a really nice artistic look and a really cool effect. But the futuristic car was completely different. This I thought was interesting in that it didn't have the effect on the photo, but affected the elements within the photo. We've still got those vertical lines in the background as part of the image, and the lights are leaking little vertical lines, and overall, if you squint, you get the barcode effect, but it's actually the objects creating it this time, not an effect overlaid. And Bruce Lee, this one, again, one of my favorites, doesn't look like Bruce Lee, but the impact and the style, this is what would be a really cool art style to work with in general if you could replicate this effect. So I think this was a really cool image, and one of the favorites I had with this whole series, or this particular video anyway. And fake miniature is kind of like creating little fake miniature scenery. So we've got the Hulk, and he's like a fake miniature statue. Everything has that really small look to it. Superman, much the same as the Hulk, same style, same look in that sort of statue with the base, but really kind of movie-esque in the detail. Moving on to the Terminator, much the same again. So that same kind of level of detail, that miniature look. And the samurai standing in front of Mount Fuji, it's like someone's taken a photo of a small samurai figure and Mount Fuji is completely out of focus in the background, but a cool effect overall. And the futuristic car looks like a tiny little car placed onto a countertop or on the floor, photographed, and just basically looks like a toy. So the fake miniature thing seems to be pretty easy to just transform objects into smaller versions of those things, which can be a lot of fun to play with. And monochrome color split. So the idea of splitting between monochrome and color was kind of the idea behind this. And again, the Terminator has a pretty cool effect. Monochrome on the left, red on the right. Very nifty effect. It really likes the sort of the grayscale and the red when splitting anything to do with the Terminator. Spider-Man, I love the way the suit kind of inverts, the eye inverts, and we get this black background on the right, white background on the left, and it's done a really cool job of this particular sort of subject. And the Hulk, same again, a bit of monochrome with some green tint on the left, but the full green on the right. It's a really, also just the way it lays out the image within each side of that and has a very symmetrical look, but slightly off-center. The way the nose is slightly off-center, it has a little bit more of a real feel to it, which is interesting for AI. And Pikachu, much the same again. We've got the white and the black, and then we've got yellow on the right, so just a cool way it split that image in the colors. And the samurai standing in front of Mount Fuji is a little less clean cut. The gray is kind of like almost bleeding in from the left into the color of the image. It almost feels like it's overlaying a slightly different image on the left to what it is on the right if you look at the clouds. And lino print style. This is a very interesting effect. Very sort of like, not always black and white, but very solid, high contrast. So the Hulk almost looks like a vector image of the Hulk. Black, white, and green. Nice 3-color image, basically. And Pikachu, we've basically got, so it's basically yellow and black, but the yellow kind of goes from a white color up to a full yellow on the top right. So it kind of has like a nice gradient effect. But the drawing style, very cool, just very different. And futuristic car, the way it's sort of drawn this car and the way the background kind of has that really sort of repetitive tunnel feel to it. Really interesting image, I think, this one as well, but with that cool style applied to it. And Superman, black and white. I really like the way the body is primarily black and the symbol is kind of like a negative space within that. This is actually a nice, really artistic look that I think is something we could learn from as artists, not just people using AI. And the Terminator, again, same sort of effect, that black and white color, and just has a cool impact. And I feel like this is the sort of image you could really blow up and print really effectively and have it look really cool and stylish. Now, bonus style in 1950s black and white sci-fi movie style. These old movies have a very particular look to them, as you can see in this image. And you move on to the modern family home, and it has that old-fashioned furniture, but with some futuristic elements mixed in it, which is what I like about old science fiction. They try to mix the trends and fashions of the time with some newer, more futuristic elements, and this is represented pretty well in this image. Spider-Man just looks like he's black and white, not really sci-fi, but the framing and the way that he appears in the image, I think is very true to it. And Barbie, she looks like she's on a spaceship and she's about to go fight some aliens. But again, we've got that old-fashioned sort of look to the hair and the outfit, and a good blend of those two sort of like eras coming together. And the Hulk, there's nothing sci-fi about this except for the simple fact it looks like a 50s or a 60s actor, black and white, wearing possibly like basically a bodybuilder, but they've really taken the proportions of the Hulk a little bit away and just found like almost like a 5'2" bodybuilder and just sort of black and whited him up. But Bruce Lee, again, not really a sci-fi look, but that black and white style is there. And again, it looks nothing like Bruce Lee. The older algorithms actually did a better job of capturing his face. But overall, it's still pretty interesting. Mickey Mouse wearing an astronaut suit like he's just crashed on Mars, and he's just thinking, what the hell is he going to do now? And I think that's a really cool impact that it's had in the way it's sort of dressed him up. And it does remind me of the old sort of black and white movies you watch on TV in the middle of the day when I was a kid. But those are the styles for this week, guys. I hope you found them useful and enjoyable. And I've got more coming your way, and as usual, some viewer styles coming as well. So if you like the video, please consider giving it a like. If you want more of these, don't forget to check out the playlist on the screen right now. Otherwise, have a great day. I hope to see you again soon.